Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Virche Evermore. Continuing our common route, uh, you know, on our way to Mathis's route, but whatever. Anyway, later, Lucas was pulled away to another patient's room by some children visiting the hospital. It didn't seem like Mathis's visit was going to end anytime soon, so before he was pulled away, Lucas got approval for me to take a look around the facility. I tried to do so in a way that wouldn't interfere with the work of the doctors and nurses, but the doorways are beautiful. Like, look at the little curved arch in the background, like the curved doorway, but then it's got like the little metal gate. It's like really pretty. Listen, I'm just saying the backgrounds are really pretty. This place was much larger than I thought. I'll probably get lost if I wander around any longer. I'd better head back. I turned around to go back the way I came when, is anyone there? I don't know who's talking, so I heard a faint voice, almost like a whisper, coming from a nearby room. Is that the voice of one of the patients? Excuse me! If anyone's there, I'd like to request a favor. My voice is still a fucking wreck. I don't know, guys. It seemed they were able to tell from my footsteps that someone was just outside the door. Maybe they were asking for help because they were feeling unwell. I paused for a few seconds, wondering whether I should help or if I would only make matters worse. Are we getting a Sprite with this character? Well, what is it that you need? Unable to ignore the distressed voice asking for help, I slowly made my way inside the room. Inside was a little... oh god, oh, she's so gonna die. Guys, she's so gonna fucking die. She's got a Sprite, and she's just a little kid. She's so gonna die. Listen. The characters that are like Man A and like Soldier B and Prostitute C, whatever. Like, yeah, they die or whatever, and you're like, okay, they're just random characters. They don't have a name. Like, I feel like they were trying with Milo to make us feel a little guilty, but the kid was a dick, so like, that's not gonna work on me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but like, now we've got saucer-eyed innocent child over here who's got a Sprite, and it's like, oh shit, now she's gonna die, and I'm gonna feel bad about it. Like, cause she's got a Sprite. If they gave Milo a Sprite, I might have felt worse when he got sick. I'd have been like, he's a dick, but like, he's got, everybody else, they didn't give names. They only gave Milo a name. You know what I'm saying? But like, if they give him a name and a Sprite, like, I don't trust this game, so. Ah, thank goodness. I'm so glad someone was outside. A delicate young girl was lying on a very clean bed. I can't do kid voices. Everything sounds fucking wrecked right now. I don't know what's wrong. I have no idea how this happened. But like, and obviously because I record in bulk, like it's gonna be like this for a long time before it gets better. Like, but like, it just came out of nowhere. If this had happened earlier this year, it would have been like, oh, okay, remnants of being sick over Christmas. But like, I got better and I was fine, and then all of a sudden, hi, what are you doing? I sound like this. It's because I chain smoke on a regular basis. I don't smoke, but it seriously sounds like, it's not like, oh, I went outside, I was like, sucking in that crisp, frigid, cold air where it ripped apart my throat. Like, it's like 60 degrees here, so like, it's not hot, it's not cold. I had to sleep with my fan on last night. I'm like, it's a little hot. What the fuck? Like, I also get very hot at night lately. Like, I don't know. I'm old, okay? Like, but I seriously sound like I've been chain smoking for like the last 80 years. Like, Jesus. Oh my god. Anyway, a delicate young girl was lying on a very clean bed. I'm so sorry to bother you, but as you can see, I'm unable to move. Which is why I was hoping you could help me pick up my diary that fell under the bed. And we're getting nearer, so... Your diary? That's why she's gonna die. I breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that she hadn't called for help because she was feeling sick. Still, I wonder if it really is okay for me to go near such a patient. I was beginning to accept the positive changes around me, but I was still afraid. Understandable. After a moment's thought, don't go near her, I feel like we're going to pick up her diary. Because, I mean, okay, listen. Here's the thing. I get our character being like, don't go near her, because I'm poison and I'm going to kill this kid. You know what I mean? But is, to be fair, for her, that's probably more her reaction, because, like, if I don't pick up her diary, I'm going to look like a jackass. You know what I mean? And then you have to explain, well, it's because I'm the harbinger of death, basically. So you don't want me near you. And then, like, that's going to freak the kid out, but you're not going to tell her that, but then you're just going to be a dick and not pick up her diary. Like, nah, fuck you, kid. Like, I mean, I don't like kids, but even I'm not that much of a douche. You know what I mean? I say that after being like, well, if Milo died, I'd be like, whatever. I feel like we would still pick up her diary, and then when the kid inevitably dies, we're going to be like, it was all my fault, I shouldn't have picked up her diary. You know, just to give us more trauma. Right? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. This is save file 2, guys. This is save file 2, so you know what that means. If we don't go near her, then, okay, this kind of changes my thought process. I wonder then if the right answer is don't go near her, because save file 2, pick up her diary, because the common route save, except for 3, is where you split off the routes or whatever. Actually, 3 might be where the routes split off, but also a bad ending. But save file 1 and 2 and the common route are bad endings. The common route bad endings. So, like, should we do that before we hit Mathis's route? I don't know if you'll get to this point before I get into Mathis's route. I mean, what we would normally do is we'd finish Mathis and then we just do the common route bad endings. Because again, how we normally play games, we get the happy ending, then we do the bad endings, and then the first route we always do the common route bad endings with there. But like, this game, you're gonna get the bad endings first. So then do we just finish Mathis's technically tragic ending? Or endings, I don't know how many there are, and then just go do the common route? Or should we do it differently and like, oh wait, we're about to split into... I suppose what I should have thought of that beforehand. I guess we'll just do it like we normally do. We'll get the end of Mathis, we'll do the common route bad endings type of a thing. Because I should have thought about it before. This probably would have been the game, because you're doing all the bad endings, to go, okay, make the save, then choose the bad ending to get, you know what I mean, get the bad endings. And then go back and then do the right ending. So we would have gotten bad ending 1, come back, continue, but sometimes that takes you out of, like, the flow of the game, but I mean, I guess not necessarily, because if you're doing it yourself. Anyway, we should have done that, but it's too late now. So I'm going to think then the right answer would be don't go near her, because picking up her diary would kill her and then give us a bad ending. I still think go pick up her diary is the right answer, but I feel like that's going to lead us down a bad ending, so. No, okay, don't go near her is the bad ending. Okay, well, at least, I don't know, but okay. Pick up her diary was the right answer. I was right the first time, but you know, anyway. I didn't see anyone else around outside, and she seemed troubled by the situation. If I refused her, she'd probably try to get out of bed just to pick up her diary. And then she slips, falls, hits her head, and dies, and then we look like a dick. Because we killed her. Alright, I see. Just really sad how I'm thinking, like, all the ways we could possibly kill someone by accident in this game. I couldn't risk her falling and getting hurt. Okay, if you don't mind. I slowly and carefully moved toward the bed. Inching along the wall, reaching as far as we can, staying as far away as we possibly can. Reaching the very tip of our fingers, and the kid's like, are you okay, girl? I knelt down so that I could peek under a well-kept bed. Almost immediately, I spotted a diary with a pretty cover and reached out to pull it from under the bed. And then a monster grabs you. No. Well, this is like a traumatic game, so I'm thinking all the horror elements, right? Is this what you were looking for? I gently dusted it off before handing it to the girl. Thank you. This diary is really special to me. She responded to my efforts with a smile so bright and adorable. She's so cute, and now we're going to kill her. She looked like a lovely fairy that had come straight out of a storybook. Are you a new patient here by chance? I'm so happy. It's been a long time since I've seen another girl here besides me. Oh, I'm actually here visiting someone. Huh? Is that so? I'm sorry. I just jumped to conclusions. You're like, do I look sickly? Little, probably. Her shoulders slumped slightly. And here I thought I finally met another girl to talk to. Oh, we'll come talk to you every day, which will lead to your utter demise. Okay. Oh, but it's selfish of me to want someone to be admitted to the hospital when they're healthy. Her giant fucking eyes. They're literally just orbs. A little creepy right now. No, it's totally fine. I couldn't stop smiling at the sight of the girl's changing expressions shift from one to the other so quickly. My name's Nadia. As you can see, I'm a patient at this hospital. May I ask for your name? My name is Spacey. Spacey, right? It's such a beautiful, wonderful name. I think I've already committed your face and name to memory. If you ever come to the hospital again, I'd be so happy if you came to see me as well. She was probably around 12 or 13. Her youthful, lovable nature seemed to suit that age best. And they're like, look, she's so youthful and lovable and adorable, and we're going to come visit her, and she's going to die. There's no way this kid's making it out alive. In like maybe one ending or another, but she is going to die probably multiple times. Now that I've had a closer look, she looks like someone I know. Just then I could hear Mathis and the others calling my name in the distance. She looks like someone I know. Lucas? I wonder if she's related to one of the characters. Like, it's the blonde hair. That's the only reason. Before I could figure out the answer, I nodded and excused myself before hurriedly taking my leave. Nadia's related. She's like, she looks like someone I know, so she's related to somebody. That's what we're getting at. Okay. She's somebody's little sister. Oh my god, are your love child? Naughty. Like, I mean, if you think about it, how were kids even born? It's basically like, you're 16, you better have kids now, you're going to die at 23. I mean, to be fair, like, this is like the 1700s up in here. Like, your life expectancy back in ye olde times was like, God, if you live past 30, it was like, well, shit. Grandpa over here knows everything. He's been around for 30 plus years. You better listen. He's your elder. He's an ancestor. He's been around since time started and the earth was formed, you know? But like 23 is like, Jesus. I never even thought about that. It was like, okay, yeah, and then you're like, well, no wonder why there's so many fucking orphanages. Jeez. Okay, listen, I'm not all here, but that makes a lot of sense. It's not like obviously orphanages exist off the real world, but like, there's probably a lot more here because maybe you meet someone and you're like 18, which seems like babies getting married and having babies, but in this world, Jesus Christ, you waited till you were 18, Grandma? That's like when you're 45 and you're like, I've decided to have a baby. Geriatric pregnancy over there at 18. You know what I mean? But like, then you could drop dead after a couple of years and you're like, no wonder why there's probably a fuck ton of orphanages. Like, holy shit. So like, Nadia being 13, it's like your parents are long dead. You never knew you would never get to know your parents. You'd be lucky if you were like, okay, well, my parents at like 15 or 16 were having kids, though I might be like 5 before my parents dropped dead. How does anyone are they they're not going to explain that, are they? But I'm curious now, like, we're like 18, it's like, girl, you're an old maid, you know? But I'm surprised they haven't brought that up because they like to like do that in a lot of games where it's a fantasy setting or whatever, or it's old timey settings. It's like, well, you're like 16. Why aren't you married? Jesus. So I'm surprised in this setting where everybody dies at 23, basically, if you're lucky. Like, if you're lucky to make it that far, that like, it wouldn't be like, you're 18, Jesus Christ. Like, or even, 18 when you've kind of aged up, like you're an adult. Like, why aren't they kicking your ass out at 15? Like, get married, get a job, get a life. You're going to die soon. It's like, shit. You know? Again, back in ye olde days, 15 was middle aged. You're like, you're 15, you're middle aged. It's like, You're gonna die. You'd be lucky if you make it to 32. Come on. Get out there. So, like, the fact that, like, being 11 is, like, middle-aged here. This girl's middle-aged. Well, no wonder why she's in the hospital. You start falling apart when you hit middle age, so. Like, 12 or 13, wow, she's past her prime. Oh my God. You know, did they think about this shit when they were writing this game? That, like, you're gonna think of this in the context of, like, the way the real world always operated, and, like, if you're gonna die at 23, when are you having kids? Like, all your, or your, how cruel is that to even have kids? To be like, oh, I'm like 18 or 19, I'm gonna have a baby, so that you can, wait, drop dead in a couple years and leave your kid parentless? But I guess it's normal because everybody grows up in orphanages at this point. Like, that's so normal. Like, that's so weird. But you know what? I kind of wish they brought that up a little more. Like, well, most people grew up in orphanages because obviously everyone died at 23, so we're kind of used to whatevs. You know, like, it's no big deal. Like, and like, also, like, all the people judging me, like, oh, there's death. That girl who's death. Girl. I'm bordering on, like, elderhood over here at 18. What are you, like, 20, 21? Like, you know, it's so fucking bizarre when you think about it. I'm sure actually with those people it's probably because they're relivers. So they're, like, actually 50, 60, 70 years old because they've been around forever, you know? So, like, technically you do have people like that. And I guess no, well, okay, never mind. I wasn't really thinking about the relivers where, like, then you relive in your body and you're like, well, now I'm 30, now it's time to have kids. And, okay, never mind. Never mind. I don't know why I think about these things because, like, the reliver answer was right there. I just had to work it out. Guys, I'm tired and my brain doesn't work, okay? Anyway. But I'm sure someone else was thinking about it and, like, wait, what? Oh, well, true. But, like, well, I mean, okay, I guess rich people. We're the poor district, but anyway, and whatever. What a waste of, like, 3 hours of our time. We'll come and get you tomorrow morning. So let's talk about what to do next to Karoon. He told me so only after he and Adolphe checked to make sure no one could overhear. Mathis then took me back home to the orphanage while making sure that we weren't being followed. There's just a giant, what is that pile of, like, it looks like a wreath. Oh, it is. It's, I'm like, why is there, like, a wreath? There's a wreath on the door down the hall, but the one in front of us, obviously, when it blew up. But, like, I love the fact that they put that detail into the background. Like, it was nice. Now it looks like garbage. You see the hole in the floor. Everything's all scuffed up and sooty, and the wreath is on the floor. It fell off the door. Nice. Touches on the backgrounds are brilliant. Like, and okay. So I've processed all the other videos up to this point. Like, I did, okay. So when I was like, I went and I paused part 7 when we could see Boreal, right? And I paused, and I was like, yeah, no, that's fucking Lucas. No fucking question. Same damn pose. He does 2 of fucking Lucas's poses. So, like, you either basically did that on purpose because you were like, there you go, that's your sign that Lucas is Boreal. Like, no question. Or, well, if we give the sprite the same poses, then you'll think it's Lucas when it's really not. But, like, I don't know which one, but I'm on the, I don't think you thought deep enough to go, but if we draw the sprite with the same poses as Lucas, people will think it's Lucas, but it's really not. Because they would have then given the Boreo sprite like a couple of different poses, like one for everybody. You would have been like, that's a Lucas pose, but wait, that's this person's pose. And Lucas was the only one who wasn't around at the time. We saw everybody else, except for Cyan, but, like, do we really think that bitch is getting his hands dirty? I doubt it. Okay. Because, again, I saw in Atome Kitten's pose, like, sometimes a god, sometimes Beyonce. Bitch ain't getting his hands dirty, so I'm going with it's Lucas. And it kind of probably has to tie in with the weird, crazy exorcist people and somehow. I don't know exactly why yet. There's a lot of different ideas, and it could be anything. It could be just because he's like, no, I just like stabbing people. I don't know. But it's somehow going to tie into that. Anyway, I was relieved to find that there was no major damage in the facility apart from where the explosion occurred. That poor fucking wraith took the damage. I was sitting across from Mother at the table as some of the other children watched us from afar. It appeared that I had just missed Hugo, who had left to return to Karoon after reporting on what happened to Mother. Spacey, is there something you'd like to say to me? As steam rose up from my cup of tea, I responded honestly to Mother's calm question. I'm sorry for worrying you, and I'm sorry for coming home late. Very good. I can see you're looking much better now, despite being away for only a day. So, did something good happen? I can't do voices right now. I wouldn't say good. I just had a chance to think about things. I realized that hating myself doesn't do much apart from worsening the mood. I see. It's really been a while since I've seen you look so at peace. I suppose you've met some good people. Yes, I got to meet some new... No, I got to make some friends. Looking at my reflection in the cup of tea, I didn't see much of a change, but I guess I wasn't so gloomy now. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about with the false sense of security of the game. Even she's like, yeah, I've made some good friends, it's okay, and then everybody's gonna start to motherfucking die. I know what you're doing, game. And it's absolutely gonna work. Because I'm like, this game is fun. I mean, I know there's like a heavier atmosphere, but like we got some good friends. Everything's great. And everyone's gonna start to slowly die, and it's gonna be traumatic. And I'm gonna be like, I mean, I knew the whole time, but like, it still hurts. Fuck. I've been looking down on myself for so long I haven't noticed. Outside the orphanage, there were all sorts of people and things I didn't know about. I've been convinced that the only ones who would really care for me were Mother and Adolphe. My shame had kept me away from others and stuck in a cycle of self-loathing. Only after talking to Eve and the others did I realize how wrong I was. Of all things, the turning point for me was the recent tragedy. I'm happy... Oh, that's Salome. I'm happy that your heart could experience a positive change, but... Spacey, why don't you leave things to the professionals and return here where it's safe? I knew that Mother would say something like that as soon as I returned. She was saying it because she cared about me. Words weren't enough to show my appreciation for her love, despite all the trouble I caused. But that would return me back to my usual ways. I knew I wasn't confident enough to handle everything that might happen. Even so, I couldn't bring myself to shut myself up again, forget about Mathis's grief and the deadly encounter we shared. I just can't go along with this. I already promised Eve that we'd work on the investigation tomorrow. He told me of the plans and smiled as he walked away. He was going to be waiting at Karoon for me. At the very least, I couldn't break that promise. Just a little while longer. I want to repay Eve for what he's done. So please, can you let me go a bit longer? My plea rang through the quiet room. As if Mother expected to hear that from me, she let out a huge and obvious sigh. If you were trying to test me, or if you asked me for permission, I would have adamantly told you no, but you haven't asked for anything before, and only now are you finally being selfish and asking something for yourself. As a mother, I can't say no to you. Then I will allow this exception. Really, just this once. The thing is, I'm 18, I can do what I want. I am living under her roof, though, technically, so she could be like, well, then I'm kicking your ass out. So, like, fair. You must promise to not do anything dangerous, and never act alone, and to stay with Adolphe and the others. Those are my requirements of you. If you come back with as much as a scratch... Yes? I'm going to have a very long talk with Adolphe and Eve for not keeping you safe. Huh? Why would you involve them? I'm the one being selfish. As long as they let you accompany them, they must be prepared to take on the responsibility no different from yours. And there is another situation to worry about. Mother moved her face next to my ear. Milo hasn't come out of his room ever since the explosion. Adolphe requested that I talk to him about the medicine that he had with him before, but he hasn't responded to me at all. Since you're going to be away for a while, can you please keep your distance from him? Yes, I understand. I feel like, it feels almost cold that she's asking this. Like, maybe keep away from Milo, but it's more like it's she's not doing it like in a negative way toward me. Like, could you just keep your distance from him because like it's better for both of us because Milo has a prejudice against us. So it almost like you know what I mean, like her being like, could you just keep your distance from him is almost like I didn't do anything, and it's almost like you're backing down on the Spacey didn't do anything. Milo, stop being a dumbass. But at the same time, it's when someone says that, it could be taken that way, but also the just Stein, he's being irrational, but just keep your distance from him so he till he gets over it type of a thing. Like it's fair and unfair to me at the same time, but you know what I mean? Like it's one of those like I get it's a little unfair to tell you to stay away from him when he's being irrational, but he's being irrational because of it. So like, you know, you can kind of see that. But in this case, she's not coming at it from that aspect. Like, just stay away from him. I know he's being irrational and whatever. It's more the he's being irrational and everything, but I think he was trying to poison you. So like, probably better for both of you to just stay away from each other. Like, it's the positive and negative for both of us. Like, you know. So I get that. Night arrived. After cleaning the hallway where the explosion occurred, I finally got ready for bed and some well-earned sleep. Just before I drifted off, I noticed that my door was slightly ajar. What do they want? Why are they just staring at me? Also, while I'm trying to go to sleep, and were you peeping on me while I was changing, you pervs? I was puzzled as to why the children were peeking into my room. Interesting, okay. What are we switching to? The moon was half concealed in the night sky. Beneath it was the royal guard pulling a wagon piled with bodies from the mortuary. 20 soldiers were working together. Oh. I was wondering when we went to this alley, I'm like, oh, we Boreal again? Like, are we going, because, like, this was the alley, like, the background where we fought him, and also where all the bodies, you know what I mean? It's the same background, they were using it, but. A shadow with a halberd in hand quietly appeared in front of the soldiers. Is this the killer? Jeez, I was expecting a guy the size of a bear. Not this twinky little Jesus boy. I like my Twinkie boys. Doesn't look very tough. I guess the Corps is really a ragtag team of nobodies if they can't even fight a guy like him. He's got Jesus on his side. Jesus. I didn't mean to say. I would have been like, he's got magic potions. Jesus. You know what I mean? But like, just he's got Jesus on his side. Jesus. That was so fucking weird. Oreo didn't move a muscle in front of the laughing man. I hope he never speaks, because the guard looked down upon Cohen so much that they didn't bother to learn what the young Corps members had gone through. Oh, they're gonna find out and they're gonna end up dead. Oh, you know what? You know what? You know what? This is one of those times I don't feel bad because the Royal Guard is a bunch of bag of douches. A bunch of douches. A bunch of whatever. It's a huge bushel of douches. So, like, taking them out isn't going to make me feel bad. Maybe these two dudes aren't total assholes, but it just seems like all of them total assholes. And I'm just going to pretend that these guys were the ones hitting on that prostitute and being douches. So, are we going to take them out? Are you going to kill them brutally and violently? Because I'm here for it. It's shit like this when it happens. I'm like, okay, I'm here for the bloodshed. Don't hurt one of my boyfriends, though. Those young men were Adolphe and Eve, two of the strongest in the Corps, skilled in combat. According to Hugo, each one of them was strong enough to take on an entire Royal Guard unit, I bet. In other words, the Royal Guard soldiers were now up against Boreal, the enemy against whom their betters were unable to land a single blow. Yeah, but this is the fun part, because the guard's like, oh, those two guys must have sucked. They must have been weak little twinks. Whatever. And it's like, look who's talking, dumb fuck. You're useless. He's going to easily kill you, and it's going to be so good. I want to hear their screams. Listen. That they weren't even a challenge to him. What was proven by the rain of blood. Sorry. Gasping, one turned around to look behind him as blood splattered onto his cheek. The bodies that were on the wagon had been ground by Boreo's weapon into a single bloody mass. No one was able to see his movements, even in the slightest. The few remaining learned the implications of what that meant too late. Oreo disappeared like a ghost into the shadows cast by the hidden moonlight. In a single breath, his halberd flashed from behind. The men in his blade's way were sliced cleanly in two. One by one, the bodies fell to the ground. He killed them so fast they didn't even have time to scream and realize what useless fucks they were, though. Slightly disappointing, but he still killed them, so good for him. One, then another, and another. The massacre was swift and merciless. Oreo reaped the men's lives as though they were nothing. The soldiers didn't even have a chance to accept reality. See that, though? Like, on one hand, like, damn, like, you're speedy at this, so that's cool, and the reveal comes out, you're Lucas later, okay? Like, listen, I would be fucking shocked if we get down and Borya's a totally other character and not, because, like, you gave us 2 Lucas poses for this sprite. So, like, don't try to tell me that you did that, like, conveniently. You know? I mean, to be fair, I'll give him credit and be like, damn, you did that on purpose to fool us, okay? But, like, right now, I'm full on the woo-woo, this is Lucas train. Curious as to your motives and reasoning, but, like, alright. But, so, like, but also, even if you're not, like, taking down these fucks, I'm okay with this. Do it. Go for it. I'm just sad that they didn't panic and scream and, like, realize what utter twats they were before this happened. That's unfortunate. It took Borio a mere minute to turn the 20 or so soldiers into lumps of meat. I don't hate it. I'm gonna hate it when it's our friend. See what I'm saying? That's a Lucas puzzle. Please spare me. The last remaining soldier was driven up against the wall, tears streaming down his face. Okay, good, one of them at least. I still haven't got myself packed up yet. I can't revive if you kill me now. Please, I'll do anything. Is it money that you want? Or maybe priority to become a reliver? Just a few days ago, the soldier gloated that he'd say goodbye to his body, dirtied by Cohen prostitutes, once his backup was done. The man who was mocking them was now begging for his life in the hopes of keeping the body he had so looked down upon. I think it's really funny, though, that he's like, oh, be glad to get rid of that trash body because I fucked a bunch of prostitutes. You chose to fuck the prostitutes. So, like, why are... That's some fucked up... Like, you might need therapy. You're gonna die, so it's not, you know, but in a normal instance, I'd be like, you need therapy. If you're, like, choosing to have sex with prostitutes and then being like, oh, yeah, I'm glad I can get rid of this filthy, disgusting body that fucked prostitutes, like, you... What? That's not a healthy self-image. You know what I mean? Like, these people are fucking bizarre, but that's part of, like, I want to say the charm of the game. That sounds weird, but you know what I mean? That it's like, that they have these weird thought processes because you're like, that's not a healthy way to look at yourself. But that's that little bit of the game where it's like, yeah, because it doesn't matter what I do in this body because I always got another one. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's like that fucked up mentality about, like, being able to be a reliver and come back in a whole new body and do it. Like, I like it, like, you know, the little details. But anyway, but I'm curious now because again, I think the people there were relivers and not normal humans in the mix that he's killing. So I'm very curious because, you know, again, the motivations could be, oh, I'm killing the relivers because they're vile. I'm killing people who aren't relivers so I can release their souls and they can be reincarnated, whatever. But it's kind of like, are you killing relivers because they're filthy, disgusting things to you? Like it's a mockery against God. But then if there are people who aren't relivers in the mix, good, because then they can't become relivers and sully themselves. So it's kind of like free reign for everybody to kill everybody. Like, I'm just really curious, because, like, I could understand, like, it's kind of weird to say, like, when you have a serial killer, they have a motivation, and you're like, that's fucked up, but, like, you can see where they're like, I hate women, so I kill women, and you're like, well, okay. But if they're like, I hate women, women suck, but then they're killing men and women, you're like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, you kind of have to, you want to understand their motivations, even if you're like, those are crazy. You're crazy. So, like, obviously, Lucas is crazy. But, like, what's your reasoning for just killing everybody? Aside from, oh, I just like stabbing people. Okay. But he's got some kind of deeper Jesus motivations, and I'm just curious what they are and why he's totally okay with killing both relivers and humans. Unless it's like, well, the humans I'm killing are ones that were going to back themselves up. If it was someone who was like, nah, I don't want to, I'm just going to limit 23 and let it go, he's like, you're cool with me, I'm not going to bother. You know what I mean? You don't have a backup, you don't have any intention of backing yourself up, letting you go until you're like, yeah, I got the money, I'm going to go back myself up, and now you're dead. I mean, that would make sense, I guess. Anyway. See, and this is absolutely a Lucas pose too. A single swipe. Oreo swung his halberd like someone brushing away dust. A moment later, the man's life was taken. And I wonder if no one knew what happened, as none of the victims had a chance to let out a single scream. Oreo put away his halberd, then walked toward one of the bodies of the royal guard. And I'm wondering if, like, sometimes, well, people clawed their own hearts. That's I'm curious about, because this, he just comes up and slices them up. So what's the other part of it? You know what I mean? The suicide part of it, right? But I'm wondering if he, like, the mutilation, like, ripping out their hearts or whatever, has something to do with you're doing that to the people who are relivers because you might have a body back up, but something, like, maybe you have to bring your body and they need a piece of your dead body in order to, like, bring your new body. Like, even if you have a backup, you know what I mean? Like, there's something about it, like, we'll find out more, but it's, like, I've backed up my brain, but, like, when I die, then they take your heart and use that to clone, your new body. And if you don't have a heart, then you, even if you've got a brain backup, we can't bring you back. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I backed up my body, I got my genes backed up and my brain backed up, so if something happens to this body and Boreal sliced and diced and shredded me in a wood chipper, like, whatevs, they can still revive me in the thing. You know what I mean? Maybe there's, like, an additional piece, and that's the whole ripping out your heart piece. Or it's just symbolic because he's crazy. I don't know. Anyway, Royal Guard body, what's he gonna do? He drove his hand straight through the chest. Oh, dear God. His fingers found their target, healing what would be the last few pulses of its life, and pulled it out with great force. Oh, dear God. Ow. My chest hurts. I'm gonna vomit. Okay. Listen, this is disturbing. This is the body horror and the gore part. I can handle it, but it's still like, it's the mental image is almost worse than if you saw it in a movie. You're like, ugh. My imagination is, I'm glad they leave it to the imagination because it's so much more horrifying. He then raised his arm. Please don't show me it. Okay. As if offering it to the beautiful starlit sky. Blood slowly dripped down from the heart and onto Boreo's face, but it didn't matter to him in the slightest. After all, he was able to take it out cleanly while keeping it intact. A certain someone would be very pleased. Oh, okay. There's now another party involved. Oreo hummed with glee, thrust a dagger into the cavity of the dead body that had become useless. So someone's collecting the hearts. Is it Cyan because he's a scientist? And so he's like, and like, so like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to connect, like, if there's a character we've seen before, because I mean, it could be Onko. That would be the obvious choice. But if he's like, I want you to investigate because too many people are dying and I can't keep up. That could be a ruse where he's like, no, I just want you to get involved. Embrace yourself as death and like, nah, I'm cool. I'm the one that's, because he would be the most sus, right? Obviously. But I think it's more fun. Oh, well, actually it could be Capucine. You know what I mean? Because Capucine and Lucas know each other. It could be Cyan because we still haven't seen a lot of him, but also he's a scientist, so of course he's gonna do crazy shit. So, like, maybe. You know what I mean? Could be Mathis for all we fucking know. I don't know, it could be anybody. This is great. Although, the way the plot develops, you might not ever find out that Lucas is Borio in his own route. You know what I mean? Or you might, but then it's kind of like, then who's puppet stringing you? It could be Capucine. Adolphe and Onco are the La Salute route. Lay, whatever. I'm always going to say La. I don't know why Lay Salute doesn't work for me. Like, I don't know why in my brain I can't say that. But anyway, in that route, so they're the last two. I don't know. Anyway, the next day, there's a lot to think about. Adolphe and I were heading as inconspicuously as possible to the place where everyone planned to meet. Oh, this is like the scene before we found all the dead bodies the first time, but it was dark then. I like the backgrounds, they're pretty. Lucas was still unconfirmed on his stance regarding the Corps' investigative activities. Well, yeah. I mean, that makes sense. He also had more business at the hospital to attend to, so he didn't accompany us today. And, like, Capucine was, like, poking around the bodies or whatever, but then I'm wondering, like, he kind of didn't make it seem like he knew anything about that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but then he could be shady and he could be hiding it. I don't know. We arrived in a normal-looking house a ways from the main street. Behold, and welcome to our office. A formal introduction. I'm Eve, the owner of Karoon. From planting seeds to finding lost children, fixing furniture to picking up trash. We're open to anything and everything where help is needed. Looking forward to working with you again. Eve spread his arms wide and greeted us with joy. I see. I heard about your business, but I always wondered where your office was located. I didn't think it'd be in the residential area. Yeah, it was originally my house before I converted it a bit. Beside me, Mathis looked up and down the building with sparkling eyes. Wow, I've always wondered about the houses in this district, but now that I have a chance to see them up close, the homes in Cohen are really small. Oh my god, Mathis! You can't just tell people their houses are really small. He doesn't even go here. Master! It's so secluded here, and not at all what I would imagine a place of work to be. Master! It looks simple, too. For a moment, I thought it was some sort of warehouse. Master! Maybe we shouldn't work with them. Say, Hugo. Oh, stay, Hugo. Stay. He's a dog. Which one of you owns the other one? Jesus. Stay, Hugo. Amathus. Most of the homes here are small compared to the homes in Cheetahs. But don't you think this place has a nice ambiance? It has a secret hideout touch, like a place that only a select few know about. Now that you put it that way, a hideout, it sounds so intriguing. I wonder what it's like inside. I can't wait. Hey, I'm one short butler. If you don't work on the master's values now, he's not going to grow up to be a decent adult. I'm very sorry. I will speak to him later. Differences between the people of Cohen and Cheetahs was really apparent in a situation like this one. This is why this game is going to hurt me so bad. Because, like, it's not like, oh, it's heavy and brooding, and they're all like, oh, and, like, whatever. It's like, you have these fucking little chuckle fuck moments. Like, look at these clowns. Like, everyone's so goofy and lively and just enjoyable and happy and, like, sweet and wonderful. And it's just like, you're like, take apart the dark themes of this game, right? Just look at the way they interact with each other. You're like, I love this. We all interact. We're being goofy. It's adorable. Like, you know what I mean? This is like the little found family kind of game. You're like, it's got the little found family. Like, we're all gonna get along and be besties, and it's so adorable. And then everyone's gonna die, and what the fuck? Like, I hate that so much. I hate it. I hate it because I'm having such a good time, and then like the scene with the Boreo's not gonna, whatever. You're like, yeah, okay. whatever. Like, we didn't kill anyone when we were fighting him, and then he destroyed the royal guard, and you're like, good for you, sweetie. I'm okay with it, because I'm like 90% sure you're Lucas. I'm on this, you're Lucas, okay? That's where I am in my head until the game proves me otherwise, okay? Like, so I'm like, good for you, sweetie. You go ahead and kill these assholes. They suck. But, like, all this bad shit's gonna happen later on in the game, but, like, right now in the common area, the common route, everything is, like, so, like, for the most part, yeah, you got the darker murdery stuff going on, but that's a separate mystery plot. And our characters, everyone's so lively and wonderful and happy, and we got this happy little music, and it's so great, and everyone's gonna die, and it's this false sense of security, and I can't get over how I'm like, I'm having such oh god, it's gonna get horrible, isn't it? Like, this game is so brilliant at bamboozling you, because, like, I know, and I keep bringing up the false sense of security because it's like, it keeps hitting me in the face that, like, I know this game is going to get dark and awful, but, like, right now I can't believe it. But, like, future me is like, stupid, it's going to hurt. And I'm like, we'll be fine. We will not be fine. You can hear that narrative as, but it was not fine. Jesus. Oh, God. But, like, so every time I'm doing this, I'm like, I love this. This is so great. Everyone's so great. Just know, in the back of my mind, just like you, I'm like, oh, just wait. Just fucking wait. I know. You're saying it, I know. But I can't help it. I'm having a great time. Everyone's so wonderful. And this is so fluffy right now. I mean, we just went from a murder scene to this, but, like, you know what I mean. Like, the interactions we have with our characters and the way they're interacting with each other is, like, wholesome and sweet and like lovely, and bravo to the game, but also I hate you for doing this because it makes you like, oh, everyone's so cute and I love it, it's great, and oh, you're gonna rip my heart out. So it's brilliant because it's the best way to do it, instead of like, oh, everyone's like a moody, dark, dreary, or like, oh, they're all dark evil characters and whatever, and you know what I mean, where then you're like, yeah, and then bad things happen, and you're like, whatever, everybody kind of sucks. But this is like, everyone's so, like, you know, happy and lively and, like, goofy and interacting with each other, and then when everybody gets stabbed and dies, it's going to be more dramatic, you know? Oh, good God. I think they've done a really great job so far, though. That's what I'm saying. Because it feels like there's some dark elements, but the moments with our friends are very light, even with the heavier plot underlying it. So again, it's that false sense of security, and it's never gonna get old. It's like, it's one of those, like, it's been 8 hours, and I'm like, still in this false sense of, still denying the trauma that's gonna come. I can't argue that it's simple. Why don't you put a sign up or something? You'd get more customers that way. I'd love to one day, but thanks to word of mouth, I haven't had much trouble getting business so far. And the only noticeable thing out front is that awful bed of flowers there. Not sure that's the best choice. Those are the licorice flowers, but remember? He's whispering he loves you to the flowers. So he's got some darkness somewhere deep in there, like, why do you love these death flowers? Adolphe pointed to a bed of beautiful licorice flowers near the outside wall. Oh, well, I actually have to agree with you. Our clients and even I break out in a cold sweat walking past them. Huh? I only just noticed. Why are you growing licorice here? Are you sure it's safe? Won't people die if they get too close? Don't worry. You guys know that they don't cause any trouble as long as you don't harm them or try to kill them. Yeah, so planting more and making them, like, more abundant everywhere seems like a bad idea. That was true, but even I thought that it might be too much. It can't really be helped since licorice grows naturally all over the country. In fact, wild licorices grew in our flower garden back at the orphanage. But seeing so many growing together like that is amazing. Indeed. I believe this is the first time I've seen a number of them growing wild on personal property. With so many in bloom, I suppose the best you can do is wait for them to wilt. My condolences, Eve. Thanks. Anyways, come on. Let's all go inside, shall we? Ready for business. It's kind of funny. It's like, why do you have those? And it's like, what am I supposed to do? I can't pluck them. I mean, I guess if they die naturally, then you pick them up. That's fine. But, like, if they don't die, you can't pluck them because it will kill you. So he has really no choice. He planted them there. You know he fucking did, but... I can offer y'all some tea if you don't mind that I brewed it. But before that, let me put up the closed sign. Huh? Huh? I came all the way here, but you're closing already? We turned around at the sudden cry. Standing next to the front gate at the end of the path was a young man, looking on with shoulders slumped. I dig the outfit. I like the little corset belt thing going on. Your little floofy skirt top. We got another innocent child who's gonna die. Listen, look, the main characters are probably absolutely all gonna die in each other's routes, okay? It's not like we've never had that happen in a game. But all these side characters, I worry for you. Hugo and Jean, I feel like, are a little bit safer because they're kind of like more main character energy than side character. You know what I mean? There's main characters, there's side characters, and then there's those side characters in the middle that are like around a little more. Salome's kind of up there, but like, I don't know, this kid and the other chicken that... I feel for you. Also because you're like, look, we got these adorable kids and they're definitely gonna die. Come on. Oh, and you are. How have you come to put in a work order? Look at how adorable this little kid is. Yes, a work order. A very important one at that. To be specific, a work order that'll affect my wage and benefits. Probably had a glimmer of hope left, despite Eves' plan to close up shop. His hair swayed as he looked up. Karoon's rumored to be the safest and most trustworthy with the most reliable results. He is adorable. He grinned widely. A grin so wide you could almost hear a laugh. His smile was cute beyond words. Again, it's doing this like, he's so lively and adorable and cute and peppy and he's so gonna fucking die brutally. Come on. If this kid makes it out alive, I'd be shocked. I don't think anyone's gonna make it out alive. Everyone is gonna die. Oh, look, we've already died. Eve already died. I'm just saying. Everyone is dying at least once, if not multiple times. In fact, I wouldn't put it past the game to kill Mathis as we're playing through his route because it's a tragic end, so he's probably gonna die. Oh, okay, I remember. Doubt. I think it's Doubt. I think that's how you pronounce it. I looked up some of the names because I'm like, what the fuck? It's so funny because like I was watching and there was like somebody who was like English, like Americanized, and it was like Dayhut. And I don't think Dayhut is right. I'm like, wow, you can just see how we bastardize shit in America. Because Daout is like the pronunciation I could find that was like probably more like closer to the original. The best I can do as it. But like Dahut, like it's absolutely the Americanized bastard version of it. So like listen, I might bastardize some of the names, but I'm trying, alright? We're not gonna be like Dahut. Hey Dahut. We're going with Daout, okay? We're doing that because I feel like that's the closest, if I remember correctly. Anyway, listen, you gotta give me credit for trying at least and not like totally Americanizing, bastardizing it all, okay? Anyway, nice to meet you. My name's Doubt. It's gonna sound weird every time I say it in different voices, but whatever. I'm just a normal reliver researcher working at the Institute in Cernival. He introduced himself loudly and proudly. Hey, at least we got somebody that can kind of have this voice. My boss! Wait. Oh my god, do you work for Cyan? The founder and greatest mind behind Reliver technology. Monsieur Brofis requests your presence. I think it's Brofis. Okay. But every time I see that, I think like Brofist. I'm like, yeah, Brofist. Like, it sounds so douchey. Would you please hold all questions until later and accompany me? Before anyone could say a word, yes, we get to see Cyan, but we're at the end of this part, aren't we? He straightened his back as a black electric car stopped behind him. Well, not that you have any right to refuse. If you do, you'll be branded as traitors with a little star, like ding. The small-figured researcher in front of us spoke the warning in an eerily friendly way. Okay, but it's so funny because he's a reliver, so he's come back. But why is he like 13? Like, when you come back, like, do you think he died? Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, I'm going to back up my body, but you only got to be like 13, 14 and you backed yourself up, but then you're like, I guess I got to start from here. And then you just, does your fake body continue to age? Or are you stuck like vampire logic where like, well, you got turned at 14, so you're going to stay 14 forever. You know what I mean? Because he's a child. If we're saying Mathis is like 17, there's no way this kid's like older than that. Anyway. Who cares? He's adorable. Okay, we have a few minutes. Chapter 4 already? Okay. Damn, I still don't know when we hit chapter 2. I remember it's chapter 3, but... An almighty God was born unto this land. The people offered prayers to God in the hopes that he'd save them from the curse. God listened and used a single finger to provide bodies to fight the curse. Why did you grant them such a miracle so easily? A certain man calmly questioned God's decision. God replied, well, it's because I was bored, of course. Is the God in this scenario Cyan? Arpachel's landscape and standard of living varied dramatically depending on the distance from the central area. Lycoris fields surrounded the outskirts, and further in was Coen, the commoners' district. The wealthy lived in Cheetahs. And, I'm assuming, okay, so like, the scattered outskirts, I'm thinking that like that lower area we can see there on that like, it almost looks like it goes up a little bit of a hill, but that's lower loop, I'm assuming is Cheetahs, and then that upper area, and in the middle is the research facility, but then I'm thinking that upper top level is like super richy rich. Ooh, fancy. This was Cernaval, the central district where the latest in technology was concentrated. Right, okay, they had told us that before. I know Cernaval just seems like it's the name of a research institute or like a large hadron collider or something, not like it's the name of a town. You know what I mean? That's right. Among the many facilities here is the National Research Institute, where we download memories and create relivers. This is where the greatest geniuses, myself included, come together to develop the greatest technologies. I'm glad somebody can have this voice, and it's going to work for him. The young man spun around with his arms open wide with pride. I honestly feel like he should have a voice like this, just because it so doesn't work. So out of place. From where I stood, I could see the giant facility where I periodically delivered letters from Mother. I doubt there's anyone in the country who didn't learn about all this as a kid. Now, I was simply explaining to ensure that there were no outdated preconceptions among us. We originally planned on holding a discussion at Karun about our investigation, but we were prevented from doing anything by the bright young man standing in front of us, who looks like he rolled out of Olympia's soiree, by the way, with his, like, lime hair. He, along with his staff, drove us to the facility I had visited many times before. We're going to get Scion in the next part, because when we transition to the interior, I'll probably stop, because we're about out of time, so. We were missing two familiar faces, one of whom was Jean, who left to gather information on Boreo and Cheetahs. Hugo? Yeah. The other was Hugo, who was just about to get into the car with us and Dahut. I'm gonna mess it up a little bit now and again, but at least I'm not like Dahut. Dahut? He had to leave to handle an argument in Coen, which another core unit had called into Adolphe's transmitter. Or Hugo. This is only about our romances. I wonder if I really should have come along, especially since I'm not with either the core or Karun. But Dahut didn't say anything about me or Mathis coming along. Since y'all know about this place, that means you know about the pledge, right? I pledge? Do you mean the paperwork required to become a reliver? I recall Lucas touching on it briefly during his lesson at the orphanage. Correct! Those who submit the proper paperwork here are able to become a reliver and have a fresh start and a healthy body. Thank you very much for your help. This is the first time I've used a cloned body, but it's much more comfortable than I expected. I bet you can't even remember the agony you felt before you died. Come to think of it, I saw someone who just turned into a reliver a few days ago. What that also meant was normal people like us weren't allowed to step foot inside unless we were prepared to become relivers. I've issued a special permit for everyone to enter this facility just this once. Of course, you're not allowed to enter rooms or areas that are strictly off limits. Unlike the Royal Guard patrolling Cheetahs, the guards here are very hardworking and can be violent when necessary. I love his little serious face. So if you don't want to get into trouble, I strongly suggest you be extra careful. I love how certain sentences are always ended with a little star, like, if, for some strange reason, you still force yourself into prohibited areas. Yes? Worst case, you'll be executed. The little star after the things is the best. I love it. It's like, he'll be executed. Like, it's, like, what, Dahoud is absolutely just the game itself. You are the embodiment of the game. Because he's like, he'll be executed, and it's all happy, and you're like, we should not be happy about this. But, like, that's this game in a nutshell. Like, oh, look, everything's great and fun, and people are getting stabbed and dying, and and it's gonna be trauma, but we're having a great time. Like, Jesus. We shouldn't be enjoying ourselves this much, but. Huh? I said that with a smile, but I bet he's dead serious. Of course he is. We're talking about the National Research Institute, after all. And this place is an annex of the royal family's castle, the supreme authority of the country. National Research Institute, a prominent research facility controlled by its director, Scion Brophies. I like how he's the director. Oh, sexy. Only the most talented scientists are invited to work on Arpachel's greatest technology. It's heavily guarded, with access strictly limited to authorized pass holders. The process of manufacturing relivers is carried out entirely within this facility. I looked up at the pointed tower spire. That's where the Arpachel royal family lives. But the royal family rarely appeared in public and didn't proactively participate in governing the country. In fact, I barely even remembered the name of the current king. It's kind of funny, like, we have a royal family? Yeah, okay, whatever. I'm gonna think of it. I wonder how much the royal family knows about what's happening in the country. I feel like there's something there. Like, that's a little put a pin in this and just remember that for later. Gonna come up. They must have commanded the royal guard to collect the bodies. There was also the gag order in effect in Cheetahs, but they still needed to perform autopsies for the other deaths. I can only hope that the royal family will properly investigate the incident. Sion's the king, and we just don't know it. Though not out of faith, I faced the castle and prayed quietly. Alright, we're going to stop here, and then we're going to... Oh, this is beautiful inside! I love it! It's like old worldly, but then you got this high-tech shit all over the place. Kind of cool. Anyway. We're going to stop here, and we will meet Sion in the next part. Oh, I mean, we've already met him, but she's going to get to meet him. You know what I mean? But anyway. I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.